I, a 30-year-old male, live with my wife of 31 years. We have been together for 5 years. She works from home and I work from the office. Recently, my team was sent on a business trip out of state for a week. I was scheduled to return on Tuesday. This weekend was especially important because the homeowner was planning to send professionals to clean the vents. Right now, our temperature was fine. We didn't need the air conditioner. However, it will soon be summer when the landlord sends the professionals again. I asked my wife to stay home for the weekend. Since the professional visit was free, hiring professionals on our own would have cost us a couple $100. We did need to have the vent cleaned, as once we turned on the air conditioner, we smelled a horrible odor, possibly from a dead rat, then immediately closed the vent and opened the windows. Being out of state, I assumed that upon my return, the vents would have already been cleaned. However, my wife informed me that her friends had invited her on a trip and she couldn't refuse as she hadn't seen them in a while. I was outraged at such irresponsibility, told her that the extra cleaning cost would now be deducted from her personal entertainment account. We have 3 bank accounts, 2 individual accounts for entertainment money, and 1 joint account. She flatly refused, claiming she was entitled to a vacation and had no thought of canceling the trip. We agreed that she would be in control, but she did not inform me of her plans to spend time with friends. I had never given her orders, but this time I expected her to behave like my partner. This caused an argument that didn't improve the situation and she ended up kicking me out of our bedroom. My irritation grew even worse than when she refused to pay the entire bill or stay home. Being excluded from my own bedroom, my own damn room, made me feel helpless. This went on for 3 nights. Her birthday was coming up in a few days. I managed to get some exclusive tickets to a musical performance in our town, which she was looking forward to, being a big fan of the upcoming show. However, I canceled her invitation, which made her very angry. I explained that this was a consequence of her decisions. She chose the trip over our time together, kicked me out of our room, and didn't stay home at an important moment. As compensation, her entertainment account was to be debited. In her place, I invited another friend who happily agreed, and we attended the theater together. On her birthday, she found the strength to get dressed and came up to me, casually asking if it was time for us to leave. She seemed to be counting on me not honoring my words. I just shrugged and pointed out that she was wrong to think I'd let the situation control me. A pale surprise flashed in her gaze. She had been crying when I returned, but her gaze was full of anger. She accused me of ruining her birthday party over a few $100s and said she would never forgive me for it. I reminded her that she had kicked me out of our room. How could she expect me to be civil to her? I was even pleased that she had been miserable all day. After realizing that I may have gone too far, I realized the complexity of the moment. Are you both in a marriage because your family advised it? God, everyone seems like an idiot around here. Do you enjoy this kind of interaction? You talk to each other like teenagers having an eye for an eye contest. You both seem immature, talking about each other in a condescending and dismissive way. Seriously, it's time to grow up. She certainly acted rashly by leaving at the last minute to go to a friend's birthday party. She should have accepted responsibility and agreed to pay for future vent cleaning. But your choice to take away the theater tickets, get someone else, and ruin her birthday looks just awful. I can understand why she wouldn't want to sleep next to you. It's better to get a divorce. Please don't have kids. Your relationship is clearly toxic. The difference here is that she made an irresponsible choice and you made a hurtful one and also enjoyed it. Reading this, I couldn't help but think of the War of the Roses. This book is not about the English Civil War, but about a married couple, the Roses, who literally destroy their home in the course of a horrible divorce. Adults are expected to be able to de-escalate a situation, not make it worse. Next story. Matt and I have been married for 3 years and have been dating for a total of 6 years. A few months ago, I gave birth to a daughter. My stepdaughter Anna, who is still a teenager, is very attached to her sister. She always takes care of her. However, a month ago, an incident happened. After picking up my daughter, I noticed lice in her hair. I was shocked and asked Anna if she had encountered such a problem. She started to be evasive, which made me wonder if I could have noticed it earlier if I had been more attentive. I really hadn't been paying attention to many things after the birth. After discussing the situation with Matt, he contacted his ex-wife. She admitted that she had known about the lice for weeks. They calmed and treated Anna's hair, but her thick and long hair needed more care. I bought a lice product for almost $80 and spent 3 hours combing Anna's hair. I also sent the product home with her for the weekend. When Anna returned, her hair was infested again. I asked if her mom or herself had taken care of them, to which Anna only shrugged. I finally suggested that Anna cut her hair to make it easier to maintain and get rid of the lice, given that it was so long and thick. She immediately declined because she loves her hair. I understand her because her hair is really beautiful, but I explained that I can't risk my youngest daughter's health for lice. I can't treat an infant and use a lice remedy because of its delicacy, so Anna can only be around the baby if we find a compromise. I explained to her that she is old enough to take care of her own head. She took the toy and ran off to her room. Half an hour later, I received a phone call from her mother. She accused me of ignorance for suggesting that I cut Anna's hair because of the lice. She claimed it was only a matter of time and that she thought I was damaging her daughter's self-esteem by threatening to limit contact with the infant. She demanded that I be a real parent and help. I hung up the phone, deciding that Matt should handle this situation as I can't let the issue affect our daughter. I am upset and worried that perhaps Anna thinks I am pushing her away as we now have a child, and I have replaced her attention. I had previously suggested that Anna gather her hair and wear a headpiece to avoid contact, but she refused as it gives her migraines. I don't insist on a haircut, but the problem is that she and her mother have not taken active steps to address the problem in 2 months. One treatment and a couple of combings haven't helped, and now I'm expected to take matters into my own hands, despite the fact that I'm breastfeeding and shouldn't be in contact with medication. When I had my first treatment, the comb was full of lice that fell to the floor. To me, this was an example of a serious infestation. Given that Anna's mother doesn't work, she has no excuse not to do it. Matt is currently in the military and will be deployed for at least 2 more months. He was supportive when we found out about the infestation and helped with the processing, but since leaving the service, he is upset that I have banned Anna from the house. However, Anna wants to keep coming here to see the baby, even when her father is on duty. You're not an idiot. As a teenager, she's perfectly capable of taking care of herself, especially if it's so important to her self-esteem. The lice could have been on her bedding or a soft toy, posing a risk of infection to the child. I'm sorry, but lice are really scary, and even though it happened to your stepdaughter, you are being made the scapegoat. Her mother seems to ignore the problem, which is unfathomable to me. Personally, I don't see how lice can affect a teenager's self-esteem. My younger coworkers would hardly want to be friends with someone who has had lice for 2 months. Blaming me for her self-esteem issues by sending her to a school with so many insects seems absurd. We all know middle school students are very sensitive to these things. If I were the parent of another child, I would be beyond worried. Cutting her hair won't solve the problem completely. You need to contact the school nurse and let her mom know that without treating the live infection, she is risking the health of other students and their families. Do not let her back into your home until she has had a visual inspection. Her mom needs to do a general cleaning of her room, wash bedding, pillows, clothes, and thoroughly clean the furniture. Lice spread very quickly. Now I want to tell a different story. We have 2 children. One is 3 years old and the other is 6. I have been a housewife for the last 6 years. Now that the eldest has gone to school and the youngest can go to kindergarten, I want to go back to work. I expressed this desire to my spouse, but he was against it. He is convinced that the presence of a parent at home is extremely important for a child, as he himself was brought up in the same conditions. My experience is different. In my family, both parents worked. After discussions, my husband agreed that he could not stop me, but stated that all expenses related to childcare and my work would be covered from my salary. He emphasized that this was wrong as this is not the way things are done in our society. Even though my salary would not be great, he said he would cover basic family expenses, but anything related to my job would be on me. I offered to share the expenses equally, but he refused, arguing that since I wanted to work, I should bear the expenses myself. The childcare situation is complicated by my husband's high standards. He insists that if our child is going to be in someone else's care, the care must be of the highest quality. Our oldest goes to private school, and he expects the same level of care for our youngest. My starting salary will be around $40,000 and I will be working 9 to 5. However, with travel time, I will be away from home for about 10 hours a day. We only have one car, so a second car will be needed. My husband will likely be doing the dropping the kids off and I will be doing the picking them up. Added to that are potential increases in car purchase, insurance, and fuel costs. I realize the math of our budget and understand that we can afford the additional expenses. My husband is able to cover them, so financially we are stable. We originally decided that our children would attend private school. He underestimates the complexities of the current situation. I may not need to work to maintain our standard of living, but staying home 24/7 does not meet my needs. I initially accepted the role of homemaker, but over time I realized I was wrong. Living within four walls is not for me. That may sound harsh, but that's the reality. We have a joint bank account, and my husband is not interested in how much I spend and on what, unless it is something extraordinary. I need a job. Even if I don't make a lot, it's important to me. My husband worries about the kids spending almost 12 hours a day at daycare or school, but my mental health is important too. If you start working, you will have to pay for childcare on your own. Your husband thinks you are striving to make money without considering family needs. He assumes that your desire to earn money is only about personal needs, even though it is much deeper than that. Sometimes it means giving up your own needs in favor of family needs. If your paycheck won't cover the cost of childcare, it may seem impractical. Your husband believes the decision should be based on the needs of the family, not just your desires. For him, it's not a matter of money. He wants you to stay home with the younger child, following the example he has set in his family. He cannot imagine a different arrangement of family life. He also believes that if you choose to work, you should pay for childcare as a form of punishment for your choice. This is his way of showing disagreement with your decision to work despite the fact that he is providing for the family. His actions may seem unfair because he is shifting all financial obligations to you. This behavior may be unacceptable, especially if it puts you in a financially vulnerable position. My next story. My sister-in-law is unfortunately unable to have children biologically. However, about 2 years ago, she adopted a teenage girl. Recently, she has often told her husband about wanting to adopt another child. Her husband, however, remained in the dark about these plans. When she began to express her desire for adoption, I was already pregnant. My sister-in-law, Lo, didn't tell me anything directly, but when my pregnancy reached 5 months, she became very caring. Lo started inviting me over and often mentioned that I wouldn't be able to care for the baby because of my history of depression. She constantly expressed her concerns about my health, saying she was afraid I might develop postpartum psychosis. These words made me doubt myself, and I even started to believe her. These thoughts plagued me almost every night. As my due date approached, Lo would sometimes comment, "I'm not sure you're going to make it. If something goes wrong, I'll have to fight your husband for custody of the baby. I'll take custody if you can't handle it." These words confused me, and I even thought she was just worried about me, not trying to be manipulative. I gave birth in October. My sister-in-law came to see the baby when the little girl was only a few weeks old. As she held her in her arms, she suddenly started crying. I went over to pick up my daughter, but Lo pushed me away and told me it was okay, continuing to lull my baby to sleep until she fell asleep. Unfortunately, I had developed postpartum depressive disorder, PPD, and couldn't say anything. When Lo left, I passed out while sitting with my eyes open, holding my daughter in my arms. This incident exacerbated my condition. After that, I didn't want anyone to go near my daughter or pick her up. I decided to see a therapist, and this improved my condition significantly. Therapy has helped me gain confidence and understanding of myself. I now realize that my daughter-in-law was manipulating me into feeling insecure and possibly giving her custody of my daughter. Last week, she asked if she could take the baby for a while to socialize with her. I told her no. She was surprised and asked why. I was frank and explained that I couldn't trust her because of all of her comments during my pregnancy and how she refused to give me my daughter back at my request during her last visit. Therefore, I did not allow her to communicate with my daughter. She objected that I could not restrict her access to her child so suddenly and that it only confirmed that she was right about my condition. She argued that I was experiencing a manic episode and that I was unknowingly putting my child in danger. She insisted that I needed to let her take the baby away so that I could regain mental clarity. I blocked her contacts, but now she is trying to involve my mother-in-law to cause problems for my husband. You're not an idiot, she's just upset. This is a classic case of gaslighting. She has gone to great lengths to make you question your sanity. The purpose of her actions is to protect herself at all costs. She is clearly exhibiting the behavior of a master manipulator. One person in this story does need psychiatric help, and it's not you. Your sister-in-law is now trying to enlist other family members in her actions. She is trying to convince them that she is right by spreading misleading information. Neither she nor her supporters should be allowed contact with the child. Your husband needs to seek legal help. She may have already contacted Child Protective Services. Do not allow the child to be left unsupervised with any family member. They may believe her in matters concerning your mental health. She is not only using manipulation with you, but with other family members as well. Your husband needs to get his act together and realize the seriousness of the situation. Does he realize that she is willing to fight him in court for the child? She is working on making him doubt your ability to defend your home. Tell your husband to be vigilant and not to take any rash actions such as taking the child to visit.